Delete is a feature of
Delete is a feature, but it is not a problem of the database.
No.
It is not a vulnerability in it. Similarly, if a delete is sent through a parameter or through an application to the database, is it a database problem?
No.
Or the application?
It's an
Application. Right? Hence, the problem of SQL injection as such is a database problem. It is an application problem. It is not a database problem. Every command that we send to the database is a feature of the database. The only problem in this, as I said, is the languages or the protocol which is used between the client and the server and the database. Since these are disparate, hence neither understand the context of the input and the resulting output. Right? Okay, just a childish example where.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So why it cannot be a database problem? Because
Yeah.
as of today there are various kind of features available in the database itself which stop that SQL injection.
Right.
You have that input validation as you just said.
Right.
If you have not configured correctly, so you're able to do that SQL injection.
Uh,
So it is a both way, like how that hacker starts. It starts with that if there's some anonymous kind of query, then if the database is throwing that particular error page by default, generally it happens in 80% of this thing. And you come to know, okay, what is that? Whether it is a Oracle or whether it is a MySQL running, and what is that syntax kind of thing is it. So
Correct.
it's that now this is the basic thing he will start. Then after that he will end up in this, like what?
Okay, error coming from the database, is this a feature of the database or a problem with the database?
It's a feature. It is not correctly configured. That's what.
No, anyway, if you sit on the console of the database and give a wrong command,
Okay.
will you get an error?
Yeah.
You will get an error. It will help, if I am the admin of the database, it will help me in troubleshooting the problem.
No, that's it. But here we have removed the SQL injection and all.
Correct. So,
you are not telling anything for that system administrator or the database administrator.
correct. But what I am saying is the error itself is a feature of the database. When the error comes in, error is finally sent to whom? The application. The application then sends to the user. If the application does its job properly, then these errors will never come to the user. Right? So, I think we'll discuss it offline. Right? No, this is authentication where you open locks with legitimate keys and you get a login. And this is how SQL injection works. So it fools the lock into believing that this is how you have to open, and it just opens. That is what happens in SQL injection. All this is basic, where this is a typical select command, where we have select star from some table where some field equal to a value and then the next field equal to a value. This is a typical authentication mechanism which is used in application. This is the application syntax, the second one, where SQL equal to. So essentially the application forms a string. Okay, the string is concatenated with the user input, and that string is sent to the database. Database takes that input, uses its own intelligence, and executes that particular query, sends the results back to the application. That is where the problem is, and we will see how to do it. Okay. Let us straight away go to an example. See, initially I will show you some extremely basic examples just for people who probably have not seen what SQL injection is, but for others it will be extremely basic. So just pardon me for that. We will go into blind SQL after this, which may be interesting to a few. Okay? So we have this application which is built around the concept of a ban. We called it a hacker's ban, which is full of vulnerabilities which are typically seen in applications. This application is built on .NET. It has a backend database of MS SQL, and it has the authentication module plus typical modules in a pack. We'll just see. So we've got a user 1 whose password is user 123, and it gives the login. So this is These are the functionalities. We've got the fund transfer, accounts, logout, post message, change password, etc. Now, the most basic example of SQL injection is we just give the username and then a quote and then a double hyphen and then an arbitrary password. And it logs us in. This is the most basic example where the backend query is modified or dynamically changed, and hence we get the login. Now to see it on the database level, let me show you, which will be more useful and clear. Now if you see, this is in the backend, we have a table called HB_users, which stores the user's information, username, password, and login ID. Okay. So if I do a simple select statement, select star from HB users, it will give me the login ID password of all the users in the database. Now I am at the database. Okay. We will see how that command works. Select star from HB_users where login ID equal to. Now this is where my input has to come in. Okay, and password equal to something. This is how my query is in the backend. Are you able to see? Is it clear? Okay. Now we will start putting our input. What was our input? Our input was username, that is user1, and then we gave a quote and a double hyphen. Right? Now when I use this query, I get a result from the database without even providing the password. Right? This is what has happened in the front end. So in the front end we gave this specific SQL which is nothing but a quote and a double hyphen. What does quote mean for the database? Quote, it closes the string input. Right? And what is a double hyphen? It is a comment character. Okay? Now, if I were to give another input here, so which means after the comment everything is removed, right? Let's say I gave another input, let's log out, and we give user1 quote, and then or 1 equal to 1, again a very basic SQL injection, and some password. We say login. And we are logged in as the administrator, if you see. Okay, why does it happen? Let us go to the database and see. We give the similar input, quote or 1 equal to 1 and double hyphen, right? And there was no password, or let's say some junk password. We are returned the entire set of rows in the database, right? Why does it happen? So we've got the input as user1 quote or 1 equal to 1. Now if you see any database works on this concept of true or false whenever it has to fetch data. So if a query is true, it will execute, it will result some data. If it is false, it will not result any data. In this case, since 1 equal to 1 is a universal truth, hence or 1 equal to 1 will return all the rows, right? And why did we log in as the admin? Because in our database here, admin is the first row, right? That is why we logged in as the admin. That is the okay.
If admin is not the row one,
It will log in as a different user, yes. But if we were to give a query like, let's say, same, the first query with the admin as the username. So let's say admin quote double hyphen or something like that. We would log in as that. So anyway, this is very basic. So we'll just move ahead. Anyone has a doubt here? In case anyone has, let's talk about it, because as I said, this is not a technical talk or anything, it is a workshop. You are free to ask any doubts, and I am taking it that way.
The admin will always have the lowest ID, so there will be no user which will be before admin.
Usually, but that is not always, it is not a standard. But usually, for example, if we have a user as Abhijit, Abhijit will precede admin in the row if it is sorted. Right?
The advanced way is admin or the high privilege users are never in a table where you store the normal users.
Okay, so we spoke about the quote, which is it closes the string, and the double hyphen, which is a comment character. Okay. There are similarly other SQL injection characters as these, which can be used in SQL injection attacks. Okay. Now let us go ahead to something called as the blind SQL injection. Now, can anyone just say what is blind SQL injection? Yeah, please.
It is that we don't know what actually we are doing. We write some query, get the error message, and from that we run another query.
Okay.
That is.
Do we get an error message in blind SQL injection? We don't?
No.
Anyone what is blind SQL?
For a condition we get a true result, but the same result which we get for a normal parameter or something, normal query, and for a false condition we get another result.
Right. So as I said, the all database commands are evaluated as true or false. So whenever we are selecting data from the database, if we are inserting a specific SQL into the user input and the results are different when we give an input and when we don't give an input, which means the application may be prone to a blind SQL. Let me show you an example. So we've got this home page where, if you see in many banks it happens, where you can find your branch, right? So you select a particular city and the application gives you the branch name, address, state, telephone number, email, etc. Right? So if you see here, we get a result when we give Delhi as the input. If you see on the URL bar, there is a parameter called city which takes the input of the city name. Now, when we give, let's say, suppose only a code, okay, we will see whether we get the same result or not. When we get a code, there is no result, right? Which means the query was either a syntax error or it was evaluated as false. Now, how do we know what is happening in the backend? So let's say we will give a universal true statement here again and say and 1 equal to 1. Sorry, this is not universal true, or 1 equal to 1. We got the same result, which we got when we gave only Delhi as the parameter. Which means there is something wrong with the application due to which a different input is giving the same result. Okay? So this is an example of a blind SQL where this database doesn't give you any error message. The application doesn't give you any specific information excepting reacting in a way which allows you to identify that the given input produces a different reaction from the application. Now, if I were the attacker, I would go ahead and do something more here. We will just follow our... Okay. So, in blind SQL injection, we use responses from the application to get the detail. What is the objective here in this particular demonstration that we will do? The objective is to steal data from the database. Before that, I will talk to you something about some operators in the SQL. Okay. Union. What is union used for? Combining the results of two different queries, right? Now, union has some rules. When the rule breaks, either the query becomes false or it gives an error message. Okay. The first rule that union has is that the number of columns selected in the first select should be equal to the number of columns selected in the second select, which is union. The second rule is that the data type of the first select and the data type of the second select should be exactly the same. So if we have select numeric comma say varchar, then union select varchar comma numeric, it will not work, it will give an error. So the data types have to be the same. So these are the rules of union. Now considering that now we know the rules of union, we will try to see if we can break. The idea here is, see, when I select the city, the website gives me all the details. So let's say here the city we've selected is Delhi. Injecting a code gives us an error message but not an ODBC error message. It doesn't essentially display an error. It gives an error condition, which is a false condition. We gave and 1 equal to 1, in our case we gave all 1 equal to 1 and it gave us the same result. This is something called as the iterative blind SQL injection. Now if you just think backwards from the database or the application side, there is a query which is formed in the application, it is run in the database. So that query has to be of this form. Select field name 1, field name 2, field name 3, etc. from the table where city equal to Delhi, or select star from this thing, right? Now for us to extract data from the database, we need two things there. One is the table name and second is the field names, right? For a select query to run on the backend database, we need two things. One is the table names and the column names, right? For us to do that, this is required.